Welcome to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Main, awesome wife and dog mom for life. I'm a sex therapist turned sex coach, and I run a successful business selling relationship enhancement products. I absolutely love talking about all things sex. So you can expect this podcast to explore all things related to women's sexual health because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you discover and embrace what brings you pleasure so that you can own your sexual self. If that sounds good to you, then keep listening and let's fucking do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot believe this. It's still fascinating to me every single time I get on here to record a podcast that I have a podcast. I've been getting into podcasts more myself recently and really pushing myself to the limits and searching podcasts that are about topics that are very curious to me, but something that I really don't have a big expertise on. For instance, I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole of Reiki training. You've seen I've talked about women's circles before, learning more about numerology and human design and all of these sort of woo-woo type things. But I'm on this journey really of tapping more into my feminine. And I recently also took the feminine archetype quiz, which I'll definitely be recording on. I'm searching for possible guests to come on and talk about this because it's so fascinating to me. And again, it's something that is very early on in my knowledge about it. And so I would much rather have a guest expert. Oh my gosh, guest expert come on and talk about this, that they can share all of their knowledge and expertise and skills around these topics. So I'm looking for somebody to come on to talk about human design, about numerology, about angel numbers. And yeah, so prepare for things to get a little woo. But I hope you're here for it. I know so many of you are here. You support me on my journey no matter what I'm talking about. And I appreciate that. You are my people. And trust me, I would never steer you in the wrong way. I talk about these things because they have made such a difference in my life. And it's important to me that as I am growing, that I share all of my experiences with you all to help you grow as well as humans and women and men in whatever gender you identify with. I'm here to support you. So anyways, you saw the topic of this episode today, and I'm actually sitting here in my office. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. If you're here in Michigan, I am actually recording on the weekend, this like first nice weekend that we've had, where we've had 75-degree weather on Saturday and Sunday. And it gives me all of the feels. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for warm weather that is upon us. And this spring vibe is just, it is such a vibe. This spring weather is such a vibe. I'm loving it. So I'm sitting here in my office and I'm holding my two little stuffed clitorises to give me some inspiration for this episode. But this is a weekend that I've actually been packed with. As you guys know, I also work for Pure Romance. That is the direct sales company that I work for. I'm on the board of directors with them. And I've been with the company now, it'll be 8 years in October. And so with the weather getting warmer, COVID kind of numbers decreasing and stuff, in-home parties have been really, really ramping up for me, which is something that I love to do so much. It is my opportunity to be on this platform and be able to share my knowledge and my skills and my expertise with women that come to these parties, give them accurate sex education from that positive lens, something that we don't get in education systems. Even if you did get some sort of adequate sexual health information, I would be willing to guess that it did not talk about orgasm or clitorises or perineums or prostate massages, So that's, I feel like, my job in this world. And as I'm venturing more down, like I said, this more feminine path, I'm really learning to discover more of my voice. I'm wanting to dive more into the speaker realm of things. So that goes to say, if you are attending any events or you see any events out there that are looking for speakers, specifically in something that is related to women's empowerment, sexual health, that is my shit. I would love to be a part of that, whether that's virtual, whether that's in person. I'm willing to travel. I love traveling. And so, yeah, that is going to be like I said, I got many things in the works. I've been tapping into this feminine energy. I'm allowing these universal downloads to happen and getting really, really silent with myself. I'm actually going to record an episode here in the next few weeks on my sacred mornings. If you follow me on social, you kind of see I talk about my morning routine, well, what I used to refer to as my morning routine. And my current coach that I'm working with, I got a new coach recently, and she has really, really, again, helped me tap into the feminine side and seeing my morning not so much as a routine, because that is very masculine focused energy. I am somebody that carries a lot of masculine energy. So really, again, tapping more into that feminine side and the masculine. And again, this is another topic episode that's coming up soon, but your masculine and feminine energy, your masculine is the doing and your feminine is the being. I heard that on a podcast recently and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. That is it. So if you know me, especially if you know me personally, you know that I am the doer. I am the go-getter, goal-driven person. I'm always on the run doing something. Since COVID, it's really forced me to slow down. And I feel like it came at the perfect time because I started this different version of my personal development journey. And anyways, it's been incredible. So I'm very excited. Again, all that goes to say thank you for being here. Just notice the changes and the growth that's going to be happening in my life. And again, thank you for being a part of that. You are my people. And Lord knows I am not for everyone. If you watch any of my reels or TikToks that go viral, oh my God, y'all, the haters come out to play. Some people truly just need a vibrator in their life, if I'm being honest. They need a little finger in their butthole to perk up their day, for real. So I hope you enjoyed that little tangent to start off this episode. I hope I gave you some giggles. Anyways, here I am stroking my clitoris in my office, not my actual clitoris, my stuffed clitoris, again, for inspiration. And this episode, again, was inspired because I have been doing a lot of pure romance parties in the last couple of weeks. And so getting back into that groove and getting to see the light bulb moments that happen at these parties is always just a joy for me. I love to be, again, in this role where I can give this information to people, and I know that it's life-changing information. So at a recent party I was doing, there were several women there that had never been to a pure romance party before. So this essentially was the first time that they've heard this information. When I do my parties, I actually bring a vulva pillow with me, and I do some female anatomy. I call it Female Anatomy 101 at every single party, because again, it is something that I believe most women are lacking. If you haven't been the person that, if you're a vulva owner listening to this, if you haven't been the person that has taken a mirror and looked down to your genitals, or if you haven't taken the time to do that self-exploration and really get to know and get comfortable with your genitals, and or if you were never given that information, again, in that pleasure-focused way, you might know certain aspects of the vulva, but to really know and understand the vulva, and especially from that pleasure focused center, it makes all the difference. And that's really, that is such a huge piece of the work that I do with my individual clients and in my programs, is giving them that adequate knowledge and information around their own genitalia. And I think for so many of us, we carry so much shame around touching ourselves or experiencing pleasure, especially as women, right? We are conditioned to feel that we should be taking care of everybody else. We should be people pleasing. We should be making the people around us happier. And oftentimes we ourselves are the ones that fall to the wayside. And so again, giving this information to women, I feel it is so empowering to help women step into their sexual power, step into a place where they can own their sexual selves. That is the work I do. That is what I'm on this earth to do. And I know that to my core, that is what I'm meant to do. So whether or not that is one-on-one coaching, whether or not that is speaking on a large stage to thousands and millions of people, that's what I aspire to do in the future. It doesn't matter where this is coming from, even talking and recording this podcast right now to give you this information, recording reels. I mean, this world is so juicy, you guys. The world is your oyster. You have so much opportunity to share information with people. So man, I'm telling you, I'm in ovulation. That's what's happening. That's why I'm all over the place on these tangents. I don't know. I'm feeling it. again, I'm a projector in human design, if you follow that. So when I get a chance to use my voice, which is why having a podcast makes so much sense for me, I feel alive. I just feel aligned. I know I'm in the right place at the right time. So back to the clitoris. I don't even know where I was going on that tangent, but I hope it makes sense. I hope you're here still with me. Back to the clitoris. So being able to give this adequate information is such a huge, huge part of the work that I do. So doing that vulva anatomy 101, that's where I was going with this. Doing that vulva anatomy 101, I show people and identify where the labia is, where the outer labia, where the inner labia is. I show what is actually the vagina. A lot of times we refer to our genitals as the vagina, but your vagina is actually the inside part of your vulva. So what we see on the outside is the vulva, the part that's inside. So once you go through the vaginal canal, that is the vagina. All right. So how I remember this, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on a previous podcast, but just again to refresh your memory, or if we have new listeners here, think of your mouth is on the outside and your throat is on the inside. So if your mouth was hurting, right, you wouldn't say, oh, my throat is hurting. Your throat is down in the inside, right? So mouth external, throat internal. Same thing with your vulva. Vulva is the external view. That's what we refer to it. And then the vagina is the actual internal part of your vulva. And that is really one of the first things that when I say that, women are like, oh, like what? Like literally every fucking time I hold up my vulva pillow, women go, somebody at the party will go, is that a vagina? Is that a vagina? I said, yeah, this is my vulva. I named her Vanessa. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then I do that. And it's common. This is not for me to shame anybody and be like, oh, you shouldn't call it the vagina. Like, you've been doing it wrong. You know, this is, again, you're doing the best that you can with the information that you've been given. So when you learn and make this correlation that, oh, okay, vulva is external, vagina is internal, then now you can do your part in the world and start educating more and giving that information to more people. So then I talk about the G-spot. I talk about how the G-spot is about 2 inches in, 2 inches forward, feels like a spongy almond. I have a whole podcast episode on the G-spot very, very early on the podcast. You might have to scroll back a bit to find that one, but it's there. And then I show the urethra. So there's a little gem on my vulva pillow that resembles the urethra, and that's where we pee from. So it is a separate hole from our vagina. So you have your urethra where you pee from, and then the top little gem on my vulva pillow is to resemble the clitoris. And it's much larger than the urethra, and that's for a reason. Generally, the clitoris is larger in size than your urethra, especially when it is erect. And so that's what this episode is about, is all about the clitoris, because I said this at last night's party. I'm like, I swear you guys, I could do an infomercial on the clitoris. There's so many fun things to know about the clitoris. So when I speak about the clitoris, especially when I have it on this vulva pillow, which what I'm holding right now is my little plush clitoris. It's literally like a stuffed animal of a clitoris. It's so cute and it's pink. I have another one that somebody sewed for me that is made of yarn, and she's also cute. It's black and pink, my brand colors. So good. But anyways, when I show the clitoris and that little gem on the pillow, this is the first thing I want you to know about the clitoris. What we see when you're looking externally, when you're looking at the vulva, what we see as the clitoris is essentially just the tip of the iceberg. That's how I kind of categorize this. And for so many of us, we think that little bean part right there, that little nugget right there, is only the clitoris. Like that little, people will be like, how does that little button like pack so much pleasure? And it's because, one, the clitoris is actually shaped like a wishbone. And if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, wherever, I have made several reels to highlight the clitoris that are coming up this week to go with this episode. So make sure you follow me there. The Rachel Main on Instagram, Rachel Main on Facebook, and same on TikTok. Just search Rachel Main on all platforms. You'll be able to find me. And anyway, so I say the clitoris is actually shaped like a wishbone. So we actually have two clitoral legs that come and they sit behind our labia. They kind of wrap around our labia, if you will. And that means that when we are exploring our self pleasure, now for those of you that have already been masturbating, already engaging in self pleasure, your practice, if you know that clitoral stimulation feels good, your practice may be just going straight to that little bean, right? That little button that we see at the top of our vulva. Now, knowing if this, especially if this is new to you, now knowing that it's in fact shaped like a wishbone, what I'm going to encourage you to do the next time you go to engage in self pleasure, or the next time you're engaging in foreplay with your partner and you're doing some sex exploration, I want you to really focus more so on your labia. If you're using a vibrator, pushing your vibrator up against your labia, maybe going in, not inside the vagina, but right in between your labia. Think of it as like you're putting the vibrator is the hot dog and you're putting it in the bun. And let's say you're like moving that hot dog up and down to get some sensation going for the bun. Think of, I don't know why that analogy just popped into my head, but I hope, I'm sure you all are getting a visual. So anyways, when you're doing that, you're actually activating those clitoral legs. And so this, I'm telling you guys, is going to give you so much of a stronger orgasm. And it's just a different way for you to, again, push the bar in learning your sexual self, learning more about your body, learning more about your pleasure. And that is so fun. Most of us, and we're talking about this on the upcoming masterclass that I'm doing with Rachel Z. We're doing that on May 2nd, by the way. If you haven't registered yet, it's $29. We're doing a masturbation masterclass called How to Flick the Mean and Stroke the Peen. And so I'm sharing all of the fun masturbation techniques for vulva owners, and she's sharing all of the fun masturbation techniques for penis owners, because most of us are masturbating the same way that we learned how to masturbate. So for many women that I talk to and ask them, how do you remember learning about an orgasm for the first time, or learning about pleasure in that area for the first time? And for most of them, it was they maybe were going to the bathroom and they wiped and realized, oh, this actually feels good when I put pressure there. Maybe it was when you were taking a bath and having the water run on your vulva and realizing that pressure felt good. Same thing with the shower. Maybe you were a little bit older and you realized, oh, thanks mom and dad for upgrading our shower to a handheld, and now I can take this off of the rail and use it and get more pressure because it's closer to my body. Maybe you were like me and you were somebody that slept on their stomach growing up, and you realized that when you put your hands under your body to warm it up and they just so happened to line up perfectly with your vulva and you had pressure there, that felt good to you, right? So most of us are masturbating still, again, vulva owners, most of us are masturbating exactly the way that we learned how to. And for most of us, it is that clitoral stimulation. And then what happens as we get older, we start to see porn, we start to maybe see movies where sex is happening, and you see all of this mind-blowing, earth-shattering pleasure happening from vaginal stimulation. And then you're like, wait, am I doing it wrong? Am I cheating? Have I actually been has it actually an orgasm that I've been having? These are mainly daily conversations that I'm having with people, either through the DMs or clients that I'm working with. And usually this stuff is coming up very early on in our work. And so again, most of us, when we're now going back to masturbation, we're going back to exactly how we learned in the first place. So pushing or giving pressure to the clitoris. And I'm not here to say that there's anything wrong with that by any means. In fact, I wish that more people would push pressure onto their clitoris and get pleasure from this. And also to again, take away that stigma that sex or pleasure has to happen or only happens if there's vaginal penetration. So over 85% of women need clitoral stimulation to achieve an orgasm. 85%, you guys. That is a huge portion. Now, the other 15%, there are some women that I've worked with that do not like clitoral stimulation. It just does not feel stimulating to them. It does not feel pleasure to them. And that's totally okay. But 85%, a majority of people. So when I'm working with women and they're coming to me and let's say they're struggling to have an orgasm and they have a male partner, their partner has a penis, they're likely not they're likely struggling to have pleasure or experiencing pleasure because, again, when we grow up, we learn that, oh, sex is actually, penis and vagina. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I see it in movies and these women are, loving this and enjoying this so much, but in my life I'm not having that same reaction. And so only 20% of women on average orgasm from just vaginal penetration. So just something inserted into their vagina, hitting those nerve endings, hitting those vaginal walls, giving that stimulation inside the vagina with no clitoral stimulation, about 20%. Now, when you think of sex positions like doggy style, sometimes missionary, sometimes even girl on top if she's sitting straight up, there's not much clitoral stimulation happening. Unless now, let's say if you're girl on top, let's say you're lying flat, so your stomach is on their stomach and you're able to do that grinding motion. Let's say you're in doggy style and you're using a toy to give you some clitoral stimulation, or maybe your partner is reaching around and putting pressure to your clitoris. Same with missionary. Are you lying again flat, or is somebody sitting upright? Again, this all comes back to where your body is being stimulated. So for a lot of us in sex positions, we're not having as many rather orgasms or as much pleasure because our clitoris is not getting stimulated, or not getting stimulated enough, or not getting stimulated in the right way. Which brings me back to our self-pleasure. Self-pleasure is the key to your overall pleasure in life. And I promise you this, I'm living proof that this is possible. When I started to get very clear and comfortable on my own self-pleasure, that started to give me the confidence to speak up and share with my partner, with my husband, the things that I wanted, especially in times where I wasn't in the mood and he was maybe initiating sex. I know now my body so well on the times where it's likely not going to happen. Either I have a lot going on in my head, thinking about a lot of things, I'm stressed, and it's just not going to happen for me to be able to get into that erotic mindset. Or maybe I'm not in the mood right now, but I could be up for it. I could be up for it, right? So I'm gonna let's use my vibrator. Maybe can you go on down on me for a little bit? I'm like on a scale of 1 to 10 right now in aroused. I am at a 0, a -0. So I need that time, and I know my body enough to be able to speak up and ask for those things, demand those things almost in a way, sexy demand, not like, well, I'll just leave it at that, because there's sometimes that I'm like, do this now. My little dominatrix Rachel comes out to play. But anyways, again, using your voice, knowing your body so well, your sexual body, in a way that you're able to use that voice more effectively. So, man, okay, where was I? In my head, I was like, this is going to be a mini episode. I'm just going to talk to them about all the things I know and want them to know about the clitoris. And here we are, 21 minutes in. This is definitely not a mini episode. This is a full ass episode all about the clitoris. I hope you're enjoying this. So you have, again, the clitoris. What do we cover so far? The clitoris, what we see externally, that little button filled with pleasure, is actually just the tip of the iceberg. The clitoris, in fact, is actually shaped like a wishbone. So you have those clitoral legs that are going to come and sit and wrap around your your labia. So going back to this, next time you're engaging in self-pleasure, take your vibrator, take your hand, take your fingers, and explore all of your vulva. That is your challenge, all of the vulva, not just going straight to the clitoris. Or for those of you that do or masturbate with finger stimulation, not going straight for the vagina, right? Not going straight for that vaginal penetration. I'm literally fingering my little vulva, or my little clitoris puppet right now, as I'm like, I talk with my hands so much. That is so relevant. But exploring all of the vagina. So challenge your way, especially May is masturbation month. So challenging yourself to be able to explore your self-pleasure in so many new ways. Now, next thing about the clitoris. The clitoris, you guys, like I said, it is just the tip of the iceberg, but some people ask, like, how is there so much pleasure jam-packed in that one little tiny bean that we see? The clitoris is made of 8,000 to 12,000 nerve endings. 8,000 to 12,000 nerve endings. That is double what a penis has, which is crazy to me, because the penis and the vagina, when we are in utero, the penis and the vagina are actually made of all the same tissues. They just come out and they're molded in a different way. So 8 to 12,000 nerve endings, that's double what a penis has. So women's pleasure, we are feeling so much more intense pleasure than men typically, basically, than penis owners. And that is, you're probably like, well, where does their pleasure come from? Their butts. Telling ya. Get your man to let you put a finger in the butt. Give them some prostate stimulation. It's going to change their life. Still working on that over here. So you're okay. You're not doing anything right or wrong. But that essentially is where a man experiences the most pleasure, is inside their butt when you're stimulating their prostate. But for women, we got it made, right? Ours is external. We are able to experience that pleasure much easier, and without any sort of penetration to our body parts. So 8 to 12,000 nerve endings, that's double what a penis has. And also, another fun fact about your clitoris is you actually have a preference if you like stimulation more on the left side or the right side. So that is another homework assignment for you after listening to this podcast episode. Next time you go and enjoy your self-pleasure, focus, if you're looking at your clitoris, focus some stimulation and rubbing, downward motion from the top of your clitoris, especially if you're laying flat on your back and obviously your hand is coming at from a top angle. That downward motion, stimulating your clitoris on the right side, stimulating your clitoris on the left side, maybe taking your two fingers and pinching both sides of the clitoris, gently pinching, kind of rubbing around, rubbing that circular motion, doing all these things, just, again, getting curious. Get curious with yourself. Curious about your clitoris. Oh, that's what I should name this episode. Get curious about your clitoris. So that is, okay, here's the other thing. Now, when I have my vulva and my little vulva pillow that I was talking about earlier, when I'm showing where the clitoris is, there's a little area, there's fabric that's basically covering the gem. And this is another thing that women are like, oh my God, I had no idea. So that fabric resembles what is known as our clitoral hood. The clitoral hood is a little patch of skin, essentially, that covers over the clitoris. So when our clitoris is not erect and you're looking at it from an external view, you may not see the clitoris right away because that clitoral hood is covering up the clitoris. And again, every vulva is different. We all look different. We're all shaped different. We all have different sizes and everything is different on every single one of us. So just, again, know that to be true. No two vulvas are the same. But being able to look at your vulva when you're not aroused, and then being able to look at your vulva when you are aroused and noticing the difference, noticing how your vulva changes. It's fascinating, literally fascinating, the way that our bodies morph and change when pleasure happens or when arousal is happening. So that clitoral hood, when our body goes through the arousal process of our sexual response, that's when that clitoral hood will slowly start to retract. It will slowly start to come backwards, exposing that clitoris. So that's another great way. So for people that are listening to this that have a partner that owns a vulva, that is a great way for you to know if they are aroused or not. Is that clitoris exposed? So if you're engaging in foreplay, let's say you're doing oral sex, you're using a vibrator on them, you're fingering perhaps, even nipple stimulation. Maybe you're not doing anything with their vulva, but noticing the changes and noticing, is that clitoris exposed or not exposed? It's like the clitoris will come out to play when she's ready to come out to play. And you need to be bringing the best of the best tools and skills and toys for me. Bring your best toys to the playground if you want me to come out and play. All right. That is that. So what else do we have here? Okay, so we have clitoris is shaped like a wishbone. We got little pleasure button here. 8 to 12,000 nerve endings, double what a penis has. 85% of women need clitoral stimulation to achieve an orgasm. Clitoral hood covering the clitoris. There is a difference between an erect and a non-erect clitoris. Challenging yourself to push your masturbation styles and techniques and really challenge yourself to try new things. Plug to sign up for the masterclass that we're doing on May 2nd if you haven't yet, because that is going to be a game changer. Whether you're male or female, to learn some of these techniques is incredible, because when you first of all, if you yourself are a vulva owner, you're going to learn new techniques to be able to experience more pleasure for yourself. If you are someone that has a partner that has a vulva, you're going to learn the techniques to be able to give them more pleasure. Same thing reverse. We have Rachel Z coming on. She is the expert on penises. So if you are a penis owner, learning and going back to that conversation I had earlier on this podcast, for most of you men that are listening or people that have penises, you tugged on your penis, you noticed that, oh, my penis is hard for some reason, and you started to pull on it at some part of your life and realized that if you pulled on it and kept yanking on it for long enough, that pleasure was going to happen, and then this white stuff comes out of the tip, right? That's mainly how men learn to masturbate. Or maybe you got a sex talk, maybe you saw it in porn or whatever, but that's essentially, so men, the main portion of men in society are masturbating in that exact same way. Penis in hand, stroking up and down, back and forth, right? Rachel, I'm telling you guys, you need to register for this masterclass because Rachel has so many techniques, and I follow a few other male sex coaches and they're all saying the same thing. It's like challenging yourself to masturbate and to experience pleasure in new ways. Game changing, you guys. And I actually recorded a podcast with Rachel Z months ago where she talked about tantric penis massage. And I remember I was so excited to try these things that I learned, with Danny. And I remember him saying, like, what are you doing? Right? Like, I was doing like these different motions, like this different way of like stroking and turning my hand and using my fingertips more at the tip of his penis. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, just trust me. Just close your eyes, like relax, start touching his chest and all the things that he likes to do and things I know that can help him relax. And I started doing these things. And I remember, it was, I think, a little bit awkward at first for him because it was so different, but it fucking worked. It worked. And like every sexual encounter that we have, we talk about it afterwards because I love to nerd out over this stuff. And again, it's just fun. It's fun to bring that play. It's fun to try those new things in the bedroom with your partner. So again, going back to this masterclass, if you own a penis or if your partner has a penis, learning these techniques from Rachel Z, amazing, right? Giving you again this way of expanding your sex toolbox, which is only going to bring more pleasure and fun and adventure and connection to your life and to your relationship. So, this was so fun. Such a great little fun episode to record on this lovely Sunday morning. I'm going to wrap it up here because I want to make sure I get time to take the dogs for a walk and enjoy this day outside before I have to go and do my next party, third party of the week. I'm doing a brunch party today. Very excited. So I hope you learned more information about your clitoris. I hope that this encouraged you to explore your body more. Many little nuggets throughout the episode here of, again, different facts about the clitoris, different ways for you to enjoy more pleasure, either with yourself or with your partner. So I'd love to hear from you. What did you learn about this podcast? What did you enjoy about the podcast? Again, make sure you're following me on social so you can see all of the fun reels that I created this week for you. I cracked myself up. So funny. I told my dad the other day when I was talking to him, I said, Dad, in the next 30 days, probably just don't pay attention, to my reels and stuff that you see on Facebook. He's not on Instagram. I'm definitely more raw on Instagram. But, Dad, just maybe not read the things. He's like, I saw the one of you and your feather duster the other day. You guys, it was not, spoiler alert, it was not a feather duster. It was a little puff ball that came in one of my bondage sets. And I was just dying laughing. Also had to explain to my father what a dripstick was because he was confused by my reels that I created about that. And, just God love him. He is so supportive. And I probably made him blush more times in the last 3 years than I probably have in my entire life. And he has raised me solo and ever since I was literally born. So, so fun. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this episode. Go explore your clitoris. If you don't have a clitoris of your own, go explore somebody else's clitoris. Share this podcast with them. Change their freaking sexual lives. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you loved it, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a thing. And if you loved it so fucking much, be sure to leave a 5-star review. I'll see you next week, and until then, keep owning your sexual self.